Hey, Curtis.
Oh, hey, Oz.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day as the day of recording.
Yeah,
Also,
we're
the month of love.
month of love.
Love.
Did you get me something for Valentine's Day?
Yes, I did. I got you my presents to record this podcast.
Oh, I was hoping you got me a movie marriage or something.
Oh, I also got you a movie marriage out of courtesy to you. I got you a 6-parter. Normally we do like
Oh,
3.
I love it. I love a
I-
good six-pack of
Yes, I
love.
went overdose on my movie marriage for you, Oz.
What
So,
do you got?
our movie this week is Pump Up the Volume
Mm.
meets Reservoir Dogs. Throw in a pinch of 5,000 Miles to Graceland. A little bit of The Last Boy Scout. got a hefty mix of Taxi Driver, and all topped off with a dollop of The Guy on the Couch from Half Baked. This week is True Romance.
It's a good six-pack.
That was a 6-pack.
And there's really no better movie to record on Valentine's Day than True Romance.
True Romance. I mean, it's right there in the title.
Right there in the title. And this is a romantic film.
I really felt
Kind-
like this was
kind
like
of.
like a sequel to, you know, like The Notebook, or
Yeah,
a sequel
yeah.
to Brokeback Mountain, or
Exactly.
a sequel to, you know, like a true real love
Yeah,
story.
for sure. Like, yeah. Like the Olivia Hussey Romeo Juliet. This is
Yes.
a direct sequel to that.
It is a direct sequel.
Mhm,
Yes,
very much so. They were just not available for starring. So
they had to do some recasting. but,
welcome
you know,
back,
it is.
ladies. Shut up! I'm trying to intro. Happy Valentine's Day. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Let's Talk About Flicks, that podcast where we take a monthly theme, being Wives' Choice this month.
Why? That's Borat.
It is a Borat joke.
That's Borat. That's what that is.
And we're here to satisfy the theme with another movie, and it was
Yeah.
your Wives' Choice
It
this
was
week.
my wife, Borat's choice.
Borat. My wife. Your wife's name's Borat.
My wife, Borat. Yes,
Is my wife Borat? My wife's Borat choice. No, we are talking about True Romance. True Romance. True Romance.
True romance.
True Romance.
Twoo love.
Twoo of love. Do you
Marriage.
kiss her?
Yes, sir.
The Tony Scott's Quentin
Yes.
Tarantino.
High octane. Oh
Yeah.
boy, does this
Yeah.
movie cook, Oz?
This has got a lot of octane. You are correct.
Mhm.
It is your plot, so I'm going to cover the characters, and
Yes.
I'll come back.
Let's give a shout out to our Patreon subscribers.
Oh
Oz.
yeah, because we skipped them last week, actually. Yeah. Hey, Patreon, we love you guys.
we do.
Happy Valentine's Day to our
We
Patreon.
also love the money that you give us.
Yes. That's really what we want. That's right. Though, shout out to Patreon subscribers Don S, Aaron A, Mady K, and Melissa L. Thank you for your patronage, and we have nothing but true romance for you this week.
We do. You are the quadra-headed loves of our life.
So let's take a look at the cast of this movie.
Yes.
How they brought this cast in for $12.5 million budget is beyond me.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of names here. Oz.
Yes. And to be fair, this is 1993. So a lot of these people eclipsed this role, and
we're either in the beginning arc of their career, like arc 1, or like act 1 or act 3 of their careers.
Exactly. Yeah. But this is very much like that couple of seasons of Mickey Mouse Club that had like Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, and Ryan Gosling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody cared then, but now you're like, wow, what an action-packed. So we are looking at our main two characters, Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette, playing Clarence Worley and Alabama Whitman Worley.
Are those not the most Tarantino of Tarantino names that
A little bit.
Tarantino ever Tarantino'd?
A little bit, yeah. And I'm just going to basically go through the rest of the A-listers, because that's pretty much the whole cast.
That's the rest of the cast.
Now, I will give a disclaimer. This is a Tarantino movie, even though he wrote it, but he's still it's pretty much his film. So just because these names are in the movie, don't assume these names stay in the movie.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Some are kind of blink and you miss them.
Yeah. We have Dennis Hopper, Val Kilmer, Gary Oldman, Brad Pitt, Christopher Walken, Bronson Pinchot, Samuel Jackson, Michael Rappaport, James Gandolfini, Chris Penn, Tom Sizemore. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And spoiler alert, 90% of those names I just mentioned are dead by the end of the movie.
Yeah. I'm trying to think which ones survive. Is it, I think just...
Rappaport.
Yeah.
Walken.
I guess Kilmer, technically.
Yeah. Walken.
Clarence in Alabama.
Yeah. That's really of the name, like 4 of them.
Yeah.
4 names I mentioned survive. And there's obviously others, like you got a couple of...
There's the big guy from Coming to America.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you've got a lot of people in this, but man, just you like even last week I was going through this cast when I was talking to you, and I'm like, good Lord.
Yeah. Like everybody's in it.
And by all intents and purposes, this movie was a complete failure.
Yeah.
Like $12.5 million budget on a 12.6 box office.
Yeah. Became a cult classic. Though.
Oh, very, very much so. Like this would be one up in that probably upper echelon of cult classics, along with your probably like Return of the Living Dead and Blade Runner and Titanic, movies like that.
Really interesting movie, and that it very much reflects the 2 main creative drivers behind it. It sounds like a Tarantino movie, but it looks like a Tony Scott movie.
Yeah.
So I felt compelled to include The Last Boy Scout in my movie marriage,
absolutely.
just because like it doesn't look like a Tarantino movie. It just sounds like it.
Yeah, but it definitely, and it's a Tony Scott film because he's a very thrifty man, hence the $12.5 million budget. So he only buys tripods that have one leg shorter than the other 2. so that the majority of the film is shot in Dutch angles.
That's all they could afford on that budget. They can only afford 2.5 legs of camera.
Yeah, we put the rest in the cast and the Steel Drum soundtrack. So
the rest went to Sam Jackson's 19 seconds of screen time.
Tony Scott actually bought all the cocaine in this movie. Like that was
$8 million of the 12.5.
Yeah, that was budget. Real cocaine. All right, I'm going to shut up so you can get to the plot.
Again, just like I was covering Kill Bill Volume 2 a couple weeks ago, there's a lot of plot in this movie.
Yes, there is.
I did my best to be thrifty with my notes. So we open on Clarence opining to a prostitute in a bar about how great Elvis was at Jailhouse Rock and how bad he wants to be Elvis. He'd even have sex with Elvis.
Yeah, he'd be with Elvis.
Yes, that's how much he likes Elvis.
But he's not gay. He makes sure he clears that up real quick.
Yes, he uses some pretty homophobic slurs to
some very Tarantino language.
Yeah. He instead of asking this prostitute to have sex with him, he asks her to attend a triple featured Sonny Chiba movie marathon with him.
I'm willing to bet that Christian Slater does not, and will not have any idea who Sonny Chiba is. Even having that line of dialogue, he's probably like, Sonny who? Like, he doesn't know who he is.
Hey, Tony, is this pronounced Heba? Is it Hiba? Chiba?
Honey Chiba?
Is that like those bubbles in the tea?
It's Sony Chiba.
I got some Sony Chiba speakers.
That's right.
So he asked her to go see a Sonny Chiba movies.
Triple feature.
Yes, because that's he is. He's a cool nerd.
Yeah, he's very much a nerd.
Yeah. Alabama then narrates she came from Tallahassee to Detroit to find love.
She never thought she'd find it in Detroit. To be fair, Alabama, no one else thought they'd find it in Detroit either. So
there's adequate pizza, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's like it's always gray, and there's always smokestacks. Like
that's
Detroit. She's giving this monologue, and it's like 1:30 p.m. still, but it looks like it's 6:45.
And cyborg cops. That's really all Detroit has to
that
offer.
Too.
And Alan Trammell.
I was gonna say, I was gonna say Isaiah Thomas at the point.
The Trammell to Whitaker double play connection.
I think Bill Lambier was taking tickets at that theater.
And between wrestling with Charles Barkley on the set of Hot Shots.
That's how he got his break in the movies.
At the Sonny Chiba movies, obvious prostitute Alabama walks in. The other prostitute didn't end up going with him, honestly.
No,
He's there by himself.
She wasn't interested. He went anyway.
No, he went. He used to go to the Sonny Chiba movies. She walks in. It very clearly intentionally spills popcorn on him. Sits down next to him. Afterwards, he asked her, "Let's go to a diner. Let's get some pie." She then comes clean. "I dumped the popcorn on you on purpose. You look like a nice guy. I got a pimp. I'm a prostitute. You look like an easy mark."
Well, she drops all this after they were together.
Well, yes.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want our viewers to get confused. Like, she told him all this over pie.
It was really good pie.
After pie, kind of.
Yeah, well, moving on. He takes her to his comic book / record / nerd store.
Yeah,
because
it's basically Be Kind Rewind.
Yeah, it takes him to the store for Be Kind Rewind.
Most deaf dating lover there.
You could tell pretty early that Alabama is genuinely taken with him. You know, after she comes clean to him, she also, again, they have sex and all this, but it's but she's like, "I really do like you, and I've been a prostitute for 4 days. I'm not good at this. I really don't want to do this."
Right, and I'm loyal.
Yeah.
If I say I'm with you, I'm with you.
Yeah. She goes outside in front of a gigantic billboard, like the place he could afford on like a comic book store's pay is something else. But
again, it's Detroit.
Yes. Yeah, she says that Clarence's boss, Lance, arranged for her to be with him. And she feels guilty for tricking him. I got a pimp. His name's Drexel. But as you said, Oz, I'm 100% monogamous.
Right.
And I had a great time with you. So, like, she really did. She really had a good,
really
had
genuine.
A good time. Yeah. And she even says, "I think I love you. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but I'm never going to lie to you again." Again, this is a couple hours after the Chiba movie marathon.
And this would be something that you could see pouring out of his mouth.
Yeah.
As this cool comic book nerd guy that's like first time and probably a long time, if ever, with a woman. You could see these emotions pouring out of him. But he's just
it's the other way around. Yeah.
It's the other way around. It's the prostitute that's like, "I'm ready to throw all this away for you."
Yeah. The next morning, they leave a courthouse married. So they've known each other for all of, probably about 16 hours, Oz, and now they are married. Yep. They get tattoos of each other's names. I got this Drexel the pimp. He's not a nice guy. He beat up my friend. We cut the Drexel, Oz.
Yes. Like in a movie full of intensity, this is by far the most intense performance.
Yes. Oh God, yeah. There's depending on how our 3-2-1s go later. This parts of this are probably going to come up twice if you catch my drift here.
Yeah, I do.
So we meet Drexel in person, played by Gary Oldman, and he is playing the butt off this role.
You thought Dracula was a lot for Gary Oldman?
Ooh,
yeah. Just wait till you see Drexel.
Oh man,
who's arguably scarier than Dracula?
Yeah, I wouldn't say arguably. He's legitimately more frightening.
I will take my chances with Dracula.
Yeah, he's more frightening than a 500-year-old vampire,
Romanian vampire. Yeah, I'll take my chances with Dracula,
who could turn into wolves and mist.
Yeah, no problem.
I'd rather be attacked by that.
At least he was romantic.
Yeah,
Drexel, no.
So we meet Drexel and Big Don and Sam Jackson and I forget the other guy's name, but the other big guy, and they're in like this like cheap motel or something, and after joking around, Drexel just shoots Sam Jackson. Just shoots Sam Jackson.
Yeah,
they were making a drug deal and just shoots him. Takes the drugs and the money. Yeah, why not have both?
Yeah.
Back at his place, Clarence is trying to make sense of everything Alabama has told him, especially because she told him a lot more about Drexel.
Yeah.
And so he knows, like, we can't just leave. This is going to come back. Like, he's going to find her. Right. He's not just going to let her go. Alabama, of course, is watching The Killer.
Because Tarantino wrote this.
Yeah, because it's Clarence's stuff. So he talks to his alter ego, credited as Mentor, the character, but in actuality it's Elvis. They just didn't want to pay for the licensing rights to use Elvis, who tells him you got to kill Drexel. I almost said Drax. Gotta go kill.
Either way.
Gotta go kill Dave Bautista.
Yeah, Dracula.
Dracula. Also Romanian.
Yes.
And that explains a lot about Dracula being able to sneak up because he moves so slowly.
Right. That's right.
It's imperceptible.
So slowly,
no
one can detect him.
So he tells her, "I'm gonna go get your stuff." Gets Drexel's address. She thinks it's unsafe, but she doesn't like forcefully try to stop him.
Right. No, stop, please. Don't.
Yeah, please don't. So Clarence pulls up Drexel's Big Marty. That's his name. Big Marty is his gigantic like bodyguard
big dude
guy. Opens the door. Clarence asks for Drexel. We hear some like really intense like techno music playing too, which just adds to the tension in the scene. Clarence walks up to Drexel, and to describe Drexel, you know, he's like got a huge scar over his eye, dirty dreadlocks, very erratic movements, you know, very awkward, menacing kind of gaits and body language.
In this early 90s era, like Gary Oldman's the only actor I can think of that could pull this off at this point in his career.
No, I could think of no one. I don't know. Willem Dafoe, maybe?
Possibly,
but
I don't think Willem Dafoe could hide in the character the way Gary Oldman hides in his character.
Sure, that's fair. So Clarence walks up to him and Drexel just starts laying into him like, "Oh, you're a tough guy. Like, I noticed you're only paying attention to me. You haven't clocked what's going on over there. You haven't seen what's going on." And so he's just calling him out. Starts calling him Charlie for Charles Bronson.
Yeah, Charles Bronson. Yeah.
Clarence says, "I'm going to give you what you're worth. I'm going to buy Alabama, but I'm going to give you what you're worth." Drexel hands him an envelope with nothing in it. Yeah. Just upping the tension.
Yeah.
Drexel just dives over the table like he was eating like Chinese food out of the carton with chopsticks, and he just dives at him. Big Marty attacks too. They both get the upper hand quickly on Clarence. Clarence does get in a shot. He throws Drexel into an aquarium.
Yeah.
But eventually Drexel and Big Marty just beat the tar out of Clarence. They take his ID. Like, "We know who you are. We got your address. Go get Alabama." Clarence had brought a gun with. He had strapped it to his ankle, and they didn't pat him down. Shoots Drexel.
Yeah.
Right in the groin. In the groin.
Yep.
Pumps a couple rounds in a Big Marty, kills him. Screams to another woman, "Pack Alabama's things." Then puts two more into Drexel, killing him. Oof! What a scene, Oz.
Oh yeah, and
I am not doing the scene justice. Trying to
no. There's all obviously aside from the profanity and references, but it just at no point up to this point did we have any reason to believe that cool comic book nerd Clarence was capable. Like, we've not seen any side of this personality prior to this.
Yeah, he was the nerd going to see a triple feature Sonny Chiba movie marathon by himself.
Like inviting a prostitute and she turned him down, and he was like, okay, like just real happy go lucky, really. But had a switch that flipped, and Val Kilmer talked him into it.
Yeah. Clarence goes home, tells Alabama what happened. She's crying tears of joy. That was so romantic. She opens the bag that was packed for her, and it's full of cocaine.
Yeah.
It is full of bags of cocaine.
Yes.
Estimated later in the movie, we find out it was estimated to be worth $500,000.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Kills this pimp who clearly was working for other people just with that amount of drugs involved. Setting in motion the rest of the big narrative here. So Clarence takes Alabama to his father, Clifford. He's a retired police officer, lives in a trailer down by the river.
Yeah. Dennis Hopper likes to play retired police officers. Only he didn't blow anyone up in this one.
Yeah, that's true. Clarence sends Alabama to get beer. And Clifford just says, like, "I haven't seen you in 3 years, and now you come to me and you're married to a woman you met yesterday?"
Yeah.
And, Clarence wants his dad, like, ask his old police contacts if he's being investigated. Like, he's afraid that, like, something happened and the cops are going to come after him. Clifford eventually reports back, no Nobody knows who you are. Nobody in the police knows who you are. Wishes his best for Clarence in Alabama.
Well, he even said, he goes, looking into it, he goes, I think what you did was probably a good thing. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
guy was trouble.
Well, even back when he was talking to Mentor,
Yeah.
before, he's like, no, like, the cops aren't going to care. You're doing their job for them.
Yeah, it's a dead pimp. Like, what are they going to care?
We do a quick cutaway. We meet another character who will become more prominent later in the movie. We meet Dick Ritchie, Michael Rappaport, Clarence's old buddy who lives out in Hollywood. He's a poor, very very working man's actor kind of thing.
Yeah, very bad actor.
Yes, we see him audition, and for
TJ Hooker.
Yeah,
that's right. The new TJ Hooker.
The new adventures of old TJ Hooker.
That's right.
Back to Clifford. Clifford's arriving back to his trailer from running errands or something, and Christopher Walken's Vincenzo Cocotti and half a dozen Italian goons are there waiting for him. Another very intense scene, huh?
Yeah.
He says that we know who your son is. We know who his wife Alabama is. That guy that he killed and stole the drugs from worked for my boss, Blue Lou. We found Clarence's ID at Drexel's.
Yeah, he left it in the hands of the palm of the dead man. Like,
yep. Clarence didn't think to go back for that. So eventually, Clifford just kind of becomes resigned to his fate. He lies, says, I don't know where they were going. Of course, they just start beating him up and punching him. They cut his hand.
This was a fun scene, just watching Walken and Hopper just chew the scenery.
Yeah, and there was a lot of chewing going on. Yeah.
A lot of intense Tony Scott close-ups and
yeah, very Tony Scott sequence.
But both of these guys can hold down that close-up and dialogue, which is nice because that's all you had was close-ups of faces, and they did a good. They nailed it.
It's just this back and forth of Walken's character trying to figure out where where Clifford's son and new wife are going, and again, eventually Clifford, you kind of realize he's like, I'm not getting out of this alive.
He starts telling him a story of. Go ahead.
Yeah, like he basically gives like the anthropological history of Sicilians. Yeah, but told in a way that is very insulting to Sicilians.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
and I can understand why Quentin Tarantino also wrote Django Unchained.
Again, we're probably going to circle back to some of the stuff later.
I'll let you handle it. That's your thing.
Uses some choice words. Again, this script was written by Whitman, Quentin Tarantino. Yes. So after laughing with him, because eventually, Vincenzo figures out like he's not going to talk.
Right.
He shoots him multiple times. I haven't killed anybody in 10 years.
Right.
Like, that's how mad he was, how upset he was. We also see James Gandolfini's character there. He's one of the goons, Virgil. As they go to leave, one of the goons finds Dick Ritchie's name and address on Clifford's fridge. So
could have saved him a lot of time.
Yep. Should have just checked the fridge.
Right. That's where I keep my addresses.
That's all the magnets and scrap pieces of paper. That's my address book. Let's see. We cut the Clarence in Alabama and Hollywood. They're picking up Dick Ritchie at his house. We meet guy on the couch, Floyd, played by just pre-meat Brad Pitt.
Yes.
Pre-peak meat Brad Pitt.
That's true. This is
just a couple years before Legends of the Fall.
This is hemp Brad Pitt.
very, very hemp meat Brad Pitt. Peak hemp. We see they pick up Dick. Clarence wants Dick to help them sell the cocaine. It's like, we got $500,000 worth, but I want to get rid of it for $200,000. We want to do it all at once. We just want one lump sum of money. We'll take the under on it, knowing we're not going to get value for it. But we want to get rid of it, and just want a lump of money.
Yeah.
We don't want this to drag on. We don't want to sell it baggie by baggie.
Right.
Just done. And so Clarence, of course, well, you work in Hollywood, you got to know powerful people who do coke, right? And eventually Dick is like, I got this yuppie acting coach, Elliot, played by Balky from Perfect Strangers. I also got to throw in Perfect Strangers into my movie Marriage.
Easily could have.
We meet him at an amusement park. It's the four of them together, and Clarence is trying to talk Elliot into basically selling all this coke to a big movie producer,
Yeah.
Lee Donowitz. Fun scene as they're trying to talk on like a roller coaster as Elliot's like on the verge of throwing up
Oh yeah. Yeah.
during the entire ride.
And Clarence is like paying no attention to what he's doing. He's trying to sell. They're going corkscrews and loop de loops, and he's just
he's getting greener by the frame. So Elliot eventually calls Lee about the coke. Clarence talks to Lee, who says like, I don't want any risk, and they eventually agree to a deal. We're gonna meet at this fancy Beverly Hills hotel.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we see Virgil, again, James Gandolfini, arriving to Dick's place, talking to a very stoned Floyd, guy on the couch, who tells Virgil that the motel that Clarence and Alabama are staying at. After Virgil leaves, we get a fun. Again, this line means nothing, but like Virgil leaves and Floyd just starts talking to himself.
Yeah.
Don't condescend to me, man.
It's like I should be mad, but I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, Floyd's kind of a real bummer for this movie. Like,
guy on the couch.
Guy who you think isn't paying any attention really screwed everything up for Clarence.
He did. He was the monkey wrench for everything.
Yeah, all of it. Unintentionally. He's just sitting there smoking.
He gives away the hotel later on. We'll get to that as well. But Clarence drops Alabama off at the motel so he can go pick up some food. And Alabama walks into the room, and there's Virgil with a shotgun waiting. Yeah. And she doesn't panic. She kind of plays like ditzy friendly. Kind of reminded me a little bit of the bride walking into the sushi place in I could see it. Yeah. Just almost like putting on a role. Right. And playing kind of a giggly ditzy, like, oh, I'm innocent, I don't know anything about anything. Who am I? I'm non-threatening. Yeah. Like, and so he asks for Clarence in the Coke car, and she lies. Oh, I think there's a Pepsi machine down the hall. But we ain't got no Coke. He punches her in the face, asks her again, punches her in the stomach, throws her across the room. She flips him off and laughs. You got a lot of heart, kid. Hits her again. And it just destroys her. Yes, yeah. And James Gandolfini's a huge man.
And Patricia Arquette is not a big woman.
No, she's fairly petite, and he's just tossing her around like a rag doll. Eventually, he finds the suitcase of Coke under the bed. He goes to shoot her, and she's just bloodied everywhere. Yeah. She grabbed a corkscrew and was just kind of holding it up, like between. Like she could barely hold her arms up at this point. And so instead of shooting her, he does the same. The whole like, you got heart, kid. Yeah, like a grizzled boxing manager.
Caught me monologuing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why, you wily old caught me monologuing. Tells her, take your best shot, thinking she's going to kind of lunge at him with this corkscrew. And instead, she just drives it straight down into his foot. Yeah. Which I imagine stung a little bit. Mm-hmm. And it elevates even more from there. Throws her through the glass shower door. She like, very resourceful, that Alabama. She gets like shampoo in his eyes. Grabs like a hairspray and a lighter, flame throws.
She took the back of the toilet, like the not the bowl, but like
picked up the entire toilet.
Right. Stronger she looks.
From the wax ring, plumbing and all.
He just pops him with the with the cover of the upper decker, and but again, she's so meek, and he's so just giant that it stuns him, but enough to, like you said, takes the hairspray and the lighter, and
she ends up grabbing the shotgun and pumps several rounds right into his chest.
So she empties the shotgun.
Clarence gets there, grabs her in the suitcase, and drive off as you hear sirens approaching. We cut to elevator, taking a joyride, or elevator. Did I say elevator? We cut to Elliot. Yeah. Taking a joyride. I think my eyes caught the word elevator further down in the notes. Yeah. Getting pulled over by the cops, driving very erratically, Oz, and it turns out that he had a woman with him in the car, and he tells this woman that's like, I got a bag of Coke on me, you gotta hide this. And no, I'm not gonna do that. No, I'm not doing that. And eventually they start fighting over this bag of Coke, and it just flies up in his face.
Yeah, pops open, and
drenches his face in cocaine, like
Yep.
Mrs. Doubtfire style.
Yes, as the cop is like walking up to the car.
Yeah, and so of course all he can do is look at the cop and smile. we cut to him at the police station getting shaken down by Nicky Dimes. What a Tarantino name that is.
Yes.
Chris Penn and Cody Nicholson, Tom Sizemore. Elliot spills everything.
Oh yeah, no effort. It's almost like he walks in like, I got something to tell you guys.
Yeah. He tells him all about Clarence. Clarence had kind of fabricated a story to Elliot about how he got the drugs.
Right.
So he tells him the fabricated story. We're going to make a deal. You're going to wear a wire, and we're going to bust this big time Hollywood producer who they're going to sell this coke to. So that really kind of kicks off Act 3 here.
Yes.
Clarence patches up Alabama outside of an airport, promises everything's going to work. Dick landed the part that he auditioned for earlier.
TJ Hooker.
Yeah.
He's so excited.
Oh, they all leave Dick's place, and not too long after, we see a room of Italian gangsters like prepping all of the guns in California.
Right, yeah. They hit all of the armories at the local military bases, and they're ready to go.
They got him.
Well, I think they stopped by John Matrix's place on the way.
John Matrix. His armory shed.
Exactly. Yeah, Radon Chung led him into the back room at the armory.
At the hotel, Nikki and Cody are prepping and reassuring Elliot, like, we're the best. We got you. You're fine.
Right. And I always believe Chris Penn when he tells me he's the best. Like,
you're really convincing that Chris Penn.
Yeah.
Clarence, Alabama, and Dick arrived at the hotel with the coke. Clarence has packed a gun. As they approach Elliot, he's in the hotel lobby. He's like psyching himself out, and he's doing like method acting. He's talking to himself. He's talking to himself in the third person, like, Elliot, your motivation is to stay out of jail. Like, hey guys.
It's so pathetic.
Yeah, it's just this. He's the stereotypical Hollywood yuppie actor.
Yeah. Oh, by far.
Like, the sweater tied around his neck and all that. On an elevator on the way up to the room, Clarence stops the elevator, pulls his gun, and shoves it into Elliot's face in the elevator, just screams at him, "What's waiting for us up there? What have you planned? How this doesn't smell right?" And Elliot is just like, I don't want to be here anymore. And
someone come get me.
Yes, I just wish someone would get me and take me away from here.
Of course, Nikki and Cody are just laughing it up.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, we like this Clarence guy.
Yeah. Nikki's like, he's gonna break, and Cody's just screaming like I like this Clarence guy. Like, back at Dick's again, we hear "Outshined" by Soundgarden playing as Floyd's smoking weed out of a honey bear, a plastic honey bear. He's turned a little honey bear into a bong. And these four like heavily armed Italian gangsters walk in. And Floyd just says, they're at the hotel.
Yeah, the ambassador
gives him directions, like, you go down.
Yeah, go down there. Go turn right and drive a little bit.
It's like for the second time, Floyd just ruins it for his pals.
Yeah. Between Floyd and Elliot, like, just not being able to keep their mouth shut. Yeah. Like, this movie the plot of this movie just falls completely apart.
Floyd and Elliot really are the perfect strangers.
They are. They definitely are.
So at the hotel, Clarence and the others enter Lee's his suite there. Lee's bodyguard, big old man, doesn't like that Clarence brought a gun. Lee plays it cool though.
Boris.
Boris, that's right. Tells Boris, let him keep his gun. There's like dailies from Lee's new Vietnam movie because he's a big time producer playing. Yeah. Clarence opines about boring Oscar bait movies. There hasn't been a worthy Oscar nominated movie since Deer Hunter.
Yeah. Thanks, Tarantino.
Yep.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the four Italian gangsters are entering the lobby, ask for Lee's room. Back upstairs, Lee tests the merchandise. This deal's too good to be true. What's the catch? Why are you selling it so cheaply? And Clarence just tells him, like, he includes part of the fabricated story about how he got it, but everything about his desire to unload it is real.
Yeah.
I just want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
You're getting the deal of a lifetime.
Yeah. I don't
Like,
have time. I don't have time to sell
no
it at
catch.
street value.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just want it gone. So yeah, Nikki and Cody hear Lee make the deal, so they start prepping to rush the room. Clarence, of course, goes into the bathroom, and who is there, Oz, but the mentor?
It's right, the mentor,
the mentor,
Pelvis Esley.
is there. Tells Clarence he's cool. I like you, Clarence. I always have, always will.
You're the best, man.
Hey, watch out, man! I'm gonna karate chop you in half.
Whoa! Look at the size of that lamp.
Time to eat. While Clarence is in the bathroom, Nick, Cody, and his team of cops rush the room. Lee's two bodyguards refuse to drop their weapons.
I love it.
Even though Lee is screaming at him, just drop your weapons.
I do. I love it. These guys are just like, we hate like
Boris. Like, yeah, especially.
I just love it. Like, we hate cops. Like, what? Who cares? Like, just don't put your guns down.
So apparently, this room is one of those like conjoined rooms in the
it's like a giant suite kind of thing.
There's several exterior entrances. So these 4 Italian goons enter through another entrance, and so there's a 3-way standoff here.
Yeah,
the Italian goons, Lee's bodyguards, and the cops, with Alabama, Lee, and Elliot and Dick all stuck in the middle, while Clarence is in the bathroom. Elliot then, as they're all screaming at each other, Elliot just Officer Dimes.
Yeah.
Officer Dimes.
I'm just gonna go.
I'm just gonna go.
Yeah. You don't need me here anymore. I'm just gonna go ahead and leave.
And so Lee confronts Elliot. How did you know his name? And then puts it all together, what's going on here, that Elliot was in on it. Your career is over. Lee then grabs a pot of coffee and throws it in Elliot's face, and Cody shoots Lee dead.
Yeah.
That's what put everything over the edge. It wasn't other gunfire. It was Lee throwing this pot of coffee in Elliot's face.
Right.
And they all start shooting. Again, Lee's dead. Cody goes down second.
Oh, yeah.
That's Sizemore's character goes down right away. Elliot gets riddled with
bullets. Gets lit up.
Yes. Clarence exits the bathroom, takes a round in the face.
Yeah.
Other cops, bodyguards, and gangsters are just dropping left and right. Dick throws the suitcase of coke in the air.
It gets shot.
Just explodes.
So now everybody's high.
Yeah. Everybody's got red eyes.
Somehow Floyd ended up in the room.
Dick runs off. So that was like his little distraction. So he makes it out, and that's the last we see of him.
Yeah, Alabama hit the deck.
She's taking cover as best she can. Nikki finishes off Boris. Alabama has
that whole finishing off Boris I thought was funny. Like, just because he's like behind the bar, help! Somebody help me! Like, he's no longer the big tough guy.
I need an ambulance.
All right, call an ambulance. Yeah, Cody didn't like, or Boris or Nikki didn't like that too much.
Yeah. So, Nikki walks over to him, and he takes out Boris, and Alabama panics, grabs a gun, and shoots Nikki.
Yeah.
Like, he was wearing a vest, but caught him in the side.
Yeah, because he was kind of profiled, so she got him in the rib cage.
Yeah. Clarence and Alabama grab the suitcase of money. Alabama throws a pair of sunglasses on Clarence to cover the big facial wound.
Well, she thought he was dead there for a couple minutes. Like, he was just very non-responsive, and it looked like he caught it right in the eye.
Yeah. So she scoops him up along with the suitcase of money, and they're able to escape the hotel, because in the meantime, one of the Italian gangsters had gone down to the lobby and grabbed just a rando hostage, distracting all the other cops down there. So Clarence and Alabama are able to make their way out with this suitcase full of $200,000.
Yeah.
We then cut to an epilogue several years later, a little time jump here, Oz. Mm-hmm. They're on a beach in what I presume is Mexico.
Mexico. Yeah, because they as she was driving, there was a sign that was like last stop.
Oh, that's
before Mexico, 5 miles or something like that.
We see an eye-patched Clarence playing with their son, Elvis, as Alabama narrates, and that's it. That's true romance. What a whirlwind of a movie!
It really is. Like, once it gets going, which is fairly quick.
Yeah,
it doesn't stop.
Yeah,
pretty much as soon as Clarence decides to leave to go to see Drexel, this movie just it's over at that point. Like, it just doesn't let up.
This really is, it's kind of, I don't know if it's coincidence or irony. I think it's a little bit of both, that like how coke, like this giant suitcase of cocaine plays like a huge role in this movie. And this movie really is one big coke ride.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's just a sprint.
It's you just goes and goes and goes.
So at this point in the show, folks, Oz and I will each give our own unique rating to the film we've been yapping about, 1993's True Romance. Oz, how would you rate this flick?
I'm going to give this 86 squibs of blood.
86 squibs of blood. That works.
Which is probably just the foundation for what they needed in that last scene.
It's a lot of ketchup packets.
Yeah. That's what they resorted to when they ran out of squibs.
Well, it's, that $12.5 million budget, they just went to Wendy's and grabbed all the Hunt's ketchup packets.
Exactly. It's go, go, go. So what do you give it?
Grab me a double stack while you're in there.
What are you giving it?
I'm going with 78 upbeat xylophones.
Ooh, nice.
Because that was the musical cue of choice. This like upbeat xylophone would play when things were happy and successful. All right, hey, next up, we've got Outside Insights. Oz and I have been scouring the interwebs, searching for unprofessional reviews that tickle our funny bones, and folks, we hope they tickle yours as well. So, hey, Oz, what's your Outside Insight?
Mine comes from Sean Schultz.
Alliterative Sean Schultz.
Yeah, left June of last year. Half star. This movie sucks on nearly every level.
Sucks.
There's too much talking. This is made worse because the talking isn't great, and a lot of a bad thing is even more bad. Then it's even crappier because someone clearly thought the talking was great, or they wouldn't have written so much of it. The costume design is obnoxious. The gratuitous violence is purely aesthetic, and that aesthetic blows. The steel drum music doesn't work. I can't remember the last time I actively disliked the movie this much. Oh, wait. It was when I watched any other Tarantino film.
This movie sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Can't remember. Oh, wait. Now I... Half star. Thanks, Sean Schultz. Hopefully yours is better. What do you got?
I got two. I'm going to share two quick ones with you.
All right.
Both from the Internet Movie Database. The first one is a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Left by J.P. Summerfield in February of 2021, about 3 years ago is the time of this recording. I know this is the most unhelpful review, but if you can take anything from my single-minded judgment, it's my one and only cast of the die. Beat it. I dare you.
Okay.
There's nothing else.
Right. Okay.
That's it. My other one I'm going to share also comes from the Internet Movie Database, left in April of 2007 from iJoyica. 1 out of 10 review.
Okay.
It looks like vomit. It smells like vomit, but it isn't vomit. What is it? Try True Romance. Cinematic piece of puke.
just a piece.
Piece of puke.
Piece of puke.
Say what? Movie where Dennis Hopper is the sanest person? If this is supposed to be cool and I didn't get the joke, well, I'm just glad I didn't. Just like I'm glad I don't dig Rocky and Rambo movies. My cat's hairball is more artistic than True Romance. Yuck.
And this guy was so proud of that review.
Yeah. But yuck was in all caps, by the way.
Oh, well,
of course it was. It looks like vomit. Smells like vomit.
But it's not.
It's a piece of puke.
Well, that would be vomit, sir.
Yeah, that's just another colloquialism. That's what that is. Hey, folks,
Lord.
It's that point in the show you've all been waiting for. Our signature segment, the 3-2-1, in which Oz and I will each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and 1 about the film in question, True Romance. My wife's choice, True Romance. So, hey, Oz, what are your 3 goods?
My first one is the Tarantino combo for this movie.
Hey,
you like that? Like that last reviewer, I was proud of that. No, the Tarantino Tony Scott team here works just really well. Like, mixing the fact that this movie was 1993. I mean, it just works. Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those lightning strikes twice kind of things where, like, wow, director did a great job. The writing, it's just, if you like Tarantino, you like Tarantino. Like, that's just how it works. Mm-hmm. So that's my first good. My second one, I flip-flopped on this one a couple times, but I went back to my original. I just thought Patricia Arquette was delightful in this movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really fun way to portray that character.
Yeah. And when you look at and really with a cast built like this, it was a matter of, it wasn't like she was part of scenes other people were carrying.
Yeah. Like, with a Walken, with a Hopper.
Yeah.
With even like Sizemore and Penn can be scene chewers too.
Like,
she held her own.
Yeah. She very much was a co-lead of this film. And really with all the other big names, she didn't share much screen time with many of them. Mm-hmm. But no, I just thought she really did a great job. Yeah. And then my third is that your drugs are bad. Okay. Like, this started out as a very, I mean, it ended that way too, but yeah, this was quite the roller coaster for Clarence in Alabama. Yeah. And just keep drugs out of your life, kids. Those are my three goods.
Listen to that DARE program.
Yeah.
It's proven to work. Just ask Nancy Reagan.
Exactly. I don't see any flaws with with introducing elementary school students to the variety of drugs they're bound to see out in the open world.
Mm-hmm. Just say no to these things that will delight you.
Yeah, imagine how this feels, kids. But we have a worksheet that will describe
it. Here's a coloring page and a sticker
on Coke. Get your black crayons, kid, because tomorrow's heroin.
We're gonna draw chalk outlines of each other, kids.
Right, because drugs are bad. So those are my three goods. What do you got?
My three goods, I'm gonna go with oh my God, Gary Oldman.
That was who I flip-flopped with. I had Patricia, I moved to Gary, and while we started talking, I went back to Patricia because I'm like, I think he's going to show up anyway, and I've stolen enough of your goods. So
I do like the challenge though of going second with ours. I do like pivoting when I have to pivot. Bobbing and weaving, my friend.
There you go. Rope a dope.
There you go.
Anyway, take your Gary Oldman and elaborate.
Yes. It just like you said. I mean, you said it the best before. I don't know if there's anybody else in Hollywood that could have pulled that role off.
I don't think so.
And not make it become like a caricature.
Exactly. You're just genuinely afraid of this man.
Yeah, you're terrified. You have no idea. You know something's going to happen, but not when or how.
Yeah.
It just that performance was something else.
I easily could say, with the exception of our leads, everyone else in this film probably could have been cast with someone else. Yeah. Except that Drexel. I don't see anybody else being able to pull that off.
I agree completely. My second good, I'm going to go with this kind of sort of ties into one of your good, but I'll kind of take it in a slightly different direction. Just the genuine bond and connection between Clarence and Alabama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm sure Clifford was very skeptical. Like, you met her how long ago and you're married? But it worked.
Yeah.
And these two loyal to each other, decent to each other, and supportive of each other.
Well, and something that I think gets overlooked a lot in relationships, especially new relationships, because you are feeling things out. People, I think, put a timetable on things. Well, you got to wait. But sometimes people don't realize they have a need fulfilled until it's fulfilled. Mm-hmm. And I think for both of these two, they had a genuine absence in their life that they weren't aware of. They were masking it with other things. Mm-hmm. And then they just aligned and realized that this is the person that I need.
Yeah.
And good for them.
And it worked. Again, you could question the time frame and all that, but it worked, and good for them. My last good is just Outshine by Soundgarden. What a great song. Mm-hmm. I was reading in the trivia that during one of the early test screenings, they had actually just laid that song in during the scene. Like, they hadn't even gotten the rights to it yet.
Yeah.
And the audience responded to it so well that they shelled out a little bit of money
to go pay for it
to get the rights to keep that song in there.
Right.
So, yeah, early Soundgarden. Whew. Good stuff. All right. Hey, Oz, what are your two bads?
My first one is wasting so many talented actors in just bit parts.
Sure.
I won't say, granted, hindsight's 2020, and here we are, 31 years after this movie came out, which is ridiculous to say that. But in hindsight, we look back and it just looks like, wow, what a star-studded cast. But in reality, they're pretty much all bit parts. like Walken was in a scene. Dennis Hopper was in 2 scenes.
Mhm.
Sam Jackson was in half of a conversation. Like even Gary Oldman's character was in like a scene and a half. Like, you know, and so yes, I think it speaks a lot for the clout, but when I look at a star-studded cast like this, I guess one could expect more like an Ocean's 11 of like everybody's actually going to have a role to play, as opposed to like, hey, look at who we got.
Some kind of narrative arc.
Yeah. And it's just, it was a matter of, I think this was post Reservoir Dogs for Tarantino, so he was hot. Tony Scott, hot. And so I think it's just a matter of, I want to be associated with that role. I want that movie. I want that role, which great, because it elevates everything. But when you're done with, it's like last week, and I admitted I had not seen this movie before. So when I was looking at the cast list, I was like, this movie's going to be amazing. And don't get me wrong, it was great. But it's like, it almost let down of like all of these, you know, all these guys on the card that weren't really there. Like they were, but they weren't. So, and granted, that's wishy-washy, but yeah, wasting talented actors in bit parts. And my second one is something we've talked about twice already, not this episode, but the previous. No one speaks like Tarantino's dialogue.
No, it's all hyper real. No one actually talks like that.
I would be willing to extend that, you know, expand my disbelief a bit, I suppose, if you had one character speaking like that and then everyone else is kind of grounded more in reality. Because you come across people that are very linguistic, people that are flowery with their, like, you could believe it. But when every single character in the movie is speaking like they're a Tarantino written character, it really, it's like you said, hyper real. It's like, okay, like,
and it's exhausting.
Yes. Like you're in, it's, you know, that you're in a land of make believe. Nothing is like, none of the action can be grounded in reality because none of the characters are grounded in reality. And so, I mean, just listening to Sizemore and Penn go back, I was like, you two, you don't talk this way. Like,
no, that's not how cops talk.
And it's just not. And so he's, don't get me wrong, he's a very talented writer. I'm not going to take anything away from Tarantino. It plays
well on the screen.
Yes, it does. Like, but yeah, it's like nobody speaks that way. So
you're not going to mistake this movie for a documentary.
No, Michael Moore brings you true romance.
Bowling for true romance.
Right. So those are my 2 bads. What do you
got? My first bad, I'm going to go with the obvious one. Like, again, it's Tarantino dialogue. He's a white guy writing super racist, like you know, characters and dialogue and using like the worst of the worst English words that there are. You know, 2 minutes in and we're dropping homophobic language. Again, as much as I enjoyed Gary Oldman's performance, like that character is super problematic. Like, like it is your stereotypical early 90s white guy trying to soak himself in black culture. And
and going so far overboard.
To change his look. And like who and how he surrounds himself, how he carries himself, the language you like, it just and
you know it's bad. And you see it, I obviously we can't be part of every culture and civilization known to time. But movies kind of capture that a little bit for us. And when you see it, you're like, there's no, you know, I just don't understand how, you know, and I'm putting in air quotes here, how like any white guy could be the blackest person in the room. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, you're like you went all the way. And again, it's because it's like, well, I have to overdo it because I have to compensate for what I'm not. And
that's not exactly how you do that. Like ask Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks will give you some pointers. On how you balance that. And it still doesn't make it right. But it could be less offensive.
Yes.
So that's my first bad. My second bad is again kind of similar to the goods. It's kind of a spin on one of yours as well. It's like you talked about how the dialogue is like nobody talks like that. Clarence is Tarantino.
Yeah.
Clarence is Tarantino's idealized self. He's suave, he's good looking, he's witty, he works in a comic book / movie / record store.
But lives way above his means to do so.
But he gets the busty blonde. He thinks of himself as a hero. He drives a giant Cadillac. Alabama is Tarantino's perfect woman. She's pop culture literate. She's giggly. Again, she's got the right look and the right shape.
She's devoted and loyal and
and it's like he is Clarence. Clarence is how Tarantino wants to look at himself when he looks in the mirror every day.
He's like, I wish I looked like Christian Slater. If I looked like Christian Slater, my life would be a movie.
And so I'm putting it as a bad just because I've seen this movie several times before, but especially this time through, I really was kind of pulled into that aspect of it to the point that it kind of pulled me out of the movie sometimes, out of the moment, where it's like, man, this is Tarantino projecting himself into the script.
Yeah.
So
I wonder too, talking about it like that. And of course I'm not passing judgment because that's not what this is about. But you gotta ask, I wonder, in real life, is Tarantino happy? Is Quentin Tarantino happy? Because there's so much consistency with style throughout his protagonists that you just wonder, is he just because he's lived so much of his life on screen as a child, etc. Is the normal everyday life of Quentin Tarantino just so unsatisfying because it's my characters never have to go to the bathroom. I do. My character, my characters never have to wait for a parking spot. It's my characters always know the cool thing to say at the moment that they need to say it. My characters never have a problem finding love. It's to where he, like you said, he writes his ideal self into his characters that they are, and I'm not denying it, they are so cool that you just wonder that.
I see myself going to a midnight triple screening of Sonny Chiba movies, and this gorgeous blonde is just going to fall all over me.
Right. Well, you just wonder, or even as simple as even taking out the blonde of I wish there was a movie theater that would show a triple feature Sonny Chiba.
Yeah.
And it's because that would be perfect for me, but they don't. So then he goes out and buys the New Beverly Theater to where he can go do it himself. Where kudos to him to where if his dreams turn into film, which turns into money to where he can make real some of his dreams, good for him, but it just to kind of piggyback off that, I wonder is there a lot of misery just because he's had to settle with my life is not as cool as I can write it?
Yeah. So yeah. That was my second bad, Oz. Hey, Oz, what's your for True Romance?
I know it was a big room, but how did Clarence not hear everyone yelling at each other?
Possibility, and the guns going off.
Yeah,
because those walls must have been thick.
He didn't step out until even when the police came in and were yelling, but then the Italians came in. He didn't come out of the bathroom until shots started firing.
Yeah,
because he got clipped by a stray bullet.
And even the Italians in the hallway, the bodyguards and the cops were screaming at each other. How did they not be what's going on in there?
Yeah, but so how did Clarence not hear everyone yelling while he was in the bathroom?
It's double drywall.
I guess so. It's true.
Some good gypsum board.
That suite didn't actually have a bathroom. He had to go down the hall. He passed the Italians and on the way.
Hey, fellas.
So
nice go.
hey, how you doing? So what's your
I'm gonna throw a quick backup out there first. My backup is how do couches in movies stop bullets?
Very well.
At one point, there's only a couple of them left. It's Chris Penn and Sizemore had already been shot, and another cop. And I forget if it was one of the bodyguards or one of the Italians on the
It
other
was
side.
one of the Italians.
Like, come on from outside of that couch. Like, just shoot the couch.
You're right.
Like, it's gonna go through. Like that upholstery is really, really tight.
You can't get him. He's hiding. It's like video game logic of like there's a stick in your path, and like, I can't go any further.
I can't get around that stick.
I gotta find a new way.
Respawn.
It's that kind of logic.
Yeah. So yeah, tough upholstery is my my lead-in. My real as I was watching this movie with Patreon subscriber Melissa L. During the early sex scene with Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette. I don't know if I'm guessing it was Slater, not a body double. I'm going to assume it was Christian Slater. We see his back, and he's got a lot of moles on there. So I turned to Patreon subscriber Melissa L. and say like he might want to get those checked out. Right. And then I just look at her and go, mole, mole, mole. So my is Christian Slater. You might want to see a dermatologist there, buddy.
Buck melanoma, Maisie Russell's wart. Call me old melanoma head.
So hey folks, that was 1993's True Romance. And hey Oz, we got one more flick for the month of love.
We're gonna maintain the intensity of this film as we go into next week and we watch my wife's choice.
Equally intense movie.
If not more. Fried green tomatoes is what we're watching.
I love it. I love the hard right turn. We're just jerking the wheel into the bridge embankment.
There we go.
I love it.
Slam on the brakes and slow it down.
Yeah. So we won't go into too much detail. I had not seen this movie, but I did watch it for the first time last weekend, and I enjoyed it. I really like this movie.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kathy Bates. Who else we got there?
Jessica Tandy.
Yeah, Jessica Tandy.
Young Robin, Chris O'Donnell.
Yeah. There, I can't think of the
Mary Louise Parker.
There you go. I knew
Stuart Masterson.
Yeah, I knew there were some triple name actresses in there. But yeah, it's a well told story.
Yeah.
It's just
a tight narrative.
Little kind of time jump a little bit here and there, but it's got a good message behind it. It's just a fun. Yeah. It's just a good movie.
It's a good movie. We'll get into it more next week, my friend.
For sure.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Good. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. So, and I will pass that on to my wife.
Yeah, we'll tell you. Borat.
Borat. Well, that does wrap up this episode. That's episode 121 for us.
121. Good old 121.
The old 121er.
The old 121er.
We will be back next week with Fried Green Tomatoes. Social media-wise, you guys can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Patreon, link down below if you'd like to join. Like, subscribe, drop a comment below. All those things you're supposed to do to support us, because that's what we're here for. We don't do this for fun. We're here for you. So as our Valentine's Day gift to you, we'll see you guys next week with Fried Green Tomatoes.